I see on my ballot for issue 1 is what the amendment would say if passed. True or false?
That is false. Um, what you see on the ballot is a quote summary, which actually is longer than the language of the amendment. The actual amendment is 220 words, I believe, somewhere around there.
Mhm.
The summary is longer. The summary, in my opinion, is not a good summary. It has been challenged in litigation because some of the words are not reflective of what it says in this amendment, and they have language about unborn children and so on. So I urge everyone to look at the actual amendment. I believe it's available on the League of Women Voters website. And if you just Google issue 1, I think you could find it as well. But it's quite different. Now, I'm told that the actual amendment will be posted in voting places, so you'll be able to look at that. But please, please be aware that what you read on your ballot is not the language of the amendment.
That's right. And so I just want to give a little sort of backstory about this for folks. So the Ohio Ballot Board is a body that is made up of 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats, and then it's chaired by the Secretary of State. And the Secretary of State is often the deciding vote, right, between how something goes. And so it is often a partisan decision. The job of the Ohio Ballot Board is to write a summary for statewide issues that will be on the ballot, ostensibly because many ballot issues are extremely long and complicated, and a summary is meant to make an issue easier to understand. The other issue that is on the ballot for Ohioans this year, issue 2, is a very long amendment, and so it makes sense in those cases to have some kind of summary to make that sort of more accessible and understandable to voters. But this one, as you say, that does not seem to be the case. It is a summary that has actually more words, and that the petition language that people are actually voting on is not what people will see when they go to vote. So it's something that is, it's a controversial thing. It did go to the Ohio Supreme Court. There were some changes made in the ballot language. The people who brought the suit would argue that not enough changes were made. I'm going to put the actual language in the chat in a minute. But that's just something for folks to know when they're going to vote, when they're talking to their friends and families about what this means, is that, when you're voting on a statewide issue, it's important to look at the language of what the amendment would be, not just the language that's going to be on the ballot.
I just saw a question pop up.
Mhm.
Will you be able to read the actual amendment in the voting booth? So no,
No.
not in the voting booth, but every polling place is supposed to have it, taped up somewhere or available somewhere. So you would have to ask the people there, where is the language of issue 1
Mhm.
posted here in this place?
Yeah. And even, a lot of times in polling places, poll workers are very well trained, but sometimes training can be kind of last minute, and some things are prioritized over others. So a poll worker might not know all of the things, and if this is something that hasn't come up a lot in past elections, they just might not know that this is an option. So I think it's important to ask, and I think it's another reason that people should be poll workers, because it's a great way to get information to voters when elections are actually happening.